What's up everybody, I'm Dave and I'm a fragrance bro. Welcome to another episode of my basic series where we ask and answer all the basic questions that pertain to cologne and perfume. Today we're asking and answering the question, what is longevity, projection, and sillage? Now, despite the fact that this series is a basic series and these are asking and answering basic questions, I debated whether I should ask this at all because it almost seems too obvious. But despite that, I do actually get questions about this, so I thought I'd answer it. Now, whenever you watch reviews of fragrances, a lot of times we use jargon in order to explain fragrances. Sometimes that jargon doesn't make sense to someone who is just entering the world of fragrances and they're looking at YouTube and they're asking, what does sillage mean? What the heck is that? Now, as far as the lingo goes, I think these three are probably some of the easiest to understand in context. There are other ones that I think are probably a little bit harder to understand in context. So let's start with one of the easiest ones, and that's longevity. Whenever we reviewers talk about longevity of a fragrance, it just means how long the fragrance lasts on your skin. Now, if you've worn a fragrance at all, you already understand that whenever you spray a fragrance on your skin, it stays there for a long time, for a few hours or several hours, depending on how strong that fragrance is. And that's just its longevity, how long you can actually smell it. Projection is another term that we use to describe the performance of a fragrance. Projection means how far it pushes out into the air. So say you're talking to a couple of friends and you want a fragrance that is pretty strong, that projects, then you want a fragrance that pushes out from your skin into the air to where that person enters your bubble of scent and they can smell you. Projection changes over the longevity of the fragrance when you wear it that day. So whenever you first spray on a fragrance that day, you'll notice that the projection is really loud at first. And maybe that projection hangs on for an hour, 2 hours, maybe even more if it's a really strong fragrance. And then it slowly dies down, or maybe even quickly dies down, depending on how weak it is. Now, sillage is another term that people use, and sometimes it gets confused with projection. Sillage is whenever you walk in the air and you leave kind of a waft of fragrance in the air, like a trail. Now, typically, you won't hear sillage mentioned a lot in a review, and mostly I think that's because it's a little harder to measure, because if you're reviewing it, it really is highly dependent on other people. In essence, sillage is just the trail that you leave behind. Now, there is a little bit of confusion sometimes whenever you hear people talk about the performance of a fragrance, its longevity and projection and sillage, because some people will talk about projection in terms of its projecting longevity. They usually talk about how long it projects really strong or something to that effect. To me, I think that is a little bit more confusing, and it leads people to think that projection and longevity are a little bit muddled. Sometimes I even read comments that have that idea in mind. They say that if a fragrance doesn't project, then that means it doesn't last, that it doesn't have longevity at all. And that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes a fragrance will last a long time, but maybe it's just a skin scent. Skin scent being another term that we use a lot of times when a scent is on your skin and you can smell it, but just up close on your skin, like your nose on your skin. Maybe the fragrance does last a long time, but it just doesn't project. And sometimes there's even fragrances that project really loudly, but then they just die down really quickly and they don't have a lot of longevity. And some fragrances you can smell on you, but have no sillage at all. And I don't understand how all this works, but I know that I have fragrances that I love to wear and I can smell them on me for several hours, but typically no one else can smell me, even when walking past them at all. I don't understand how that works, but that is sometimes the case. Now, as with everything, the performance of a fragrance is highly subjective. You may value one thing over another. You may just not care. Maybe you just want the smell itself. Maybe you just really like really strong fragrances and you want something that lasts a long time. All of these are okay. There's no right or wrong preference here. It just comes down to what you enjoy, what you prefer, and what you want to buy. So to sum up, longevity is just really how long the fragrance lasts on your skin, how many hours or even minutes a fragrance will last on your skin. Projection is how loud it is, how far it pushes out into the air. And sillage is just that scent trail. that wafts through the air whenever you walk by someone or someone walks by you. So I'd like to thank Fragrance X for sponsoring this video. Fragrance X is an online reseller with thousands of legitimate fragrances. I love Fragrance X. I've bought from them before, so I really highly recommend them to you. I'll have a link down below where you can go and check them out, as well as a coupon code. So what do you prefer with a performance? Do you really care about the performance of a fragrance? Do you want it to last a long time, or do you just want the scent itself? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, feel free to post a comment or drop an email. I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave with Fragrance Bros. I'll see you later. Bye. Thanks everyone for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to check out my other channel, Beast Made Reviews, where me and a friend review high quality products for men. You might like it. Go check it out.